daily fantasy. His number too high, then I'm probably fading him. He been on the road, he gon' eat up my salary. I hit a buy, he gon' lie before lock. Play back to back, then I probably won't pick on the DFS bachelor, good as it gets. Bit a few liners, then hit me a leg. He had a good game, but it might be a trick. Logged in the Slack, so I know who to pick. Sharing our liners, we all gon' get rich. New to this game, you should come to the pad. You might want some cash and get a good laugh. DFS sports, we gon' run up a bag. He heard every game, and it's making me mad. You buying your lineups, I think you a cheater. DFS bachelor, he the new leader, yeah.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Bachelor Pad. I, of course, am your host, the DFS Bachelor, and we're going to go over the Fanduel and Draftkings NBA playoffs, the first game of the NBA playoffs. Thank God we've got the NBA playoffs. Tomorrow they start, and we're going to go over our Fanduel and Draftkings slate. It's Monday, August 17th. It's a 4-game slate. Starts early. Well, here on the West Coast, starts at 10:30 in the morning here on the West Coast, 1:30 Eastern, goes throughout the day, one game at a time. First things first, thank you again for all of your support, all the kind words in the comment section, liking the videos. That helps the channel more than you know, so I really appreciate all those likes. Please keep doing that. Thank you so much for that. Big cheers to you all. Seriously, it's a Coffee and Bailey Sunday. It's the middle of the afternoon. Normally, we do these videos a little later, but since the game starts so early and there's so much on the line, and we're finally getting back to normal basketball after, a week and a half of a lot of, I guess you would call it tanking mode, really resting mode for the most part. But thank you all so much. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the team. Please hit that subscribe button down below if you're so inclined to do so. Get access to all of our content, NFL, WNBA, NBA playoffs, of course, all the way through to the end. Some WNBA, I think I just said some Major League Baseball. We're going to do some cool stuff with Major League Baseball. Maybe have our guy Donnie Rightside on here to talk some baseball and a little bit of baseball handicapping as well as DFS. So lots of stuff there. Hit that subscribe button. I truly do appreciate it. Also, by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and leaving a comment in the comment section, you qualify for our weekly $25 PayPal giveaway. And I announce that winner for every show on Monday. So we're going to announce the winner right now before I forget, because I have a tendency to do that. So our winner this week is Paula. That's the name on YouTube. It's Paula. Yep, it's Paula. So hit me up on Twitter. Make sure you have a PayPal account. It is a PayPal giveaway. And let me know how to get that to you. Congratulations to you. Also, we're going to be doing some big giveaways. I start my sportsbookreview.com content next week over SBR. We're going to start breaking down each division of the NFL. Get everyone ready for the NFL season. Some divisional odds, over-unders, win totals. So I'll be doing some giveaways over there at sportsbookreview.com. I believe we record our first video on Wednesday, so it should be up Thursday or Friday-ish after the wonderful production team over there gets it ready. So be sure to check all of that out. Also, don't forget to check out Overlay DFS this week with the playoffs starting. If you enter the $22 NBA jackpot, which is around 20 grand right now, you just have to finish in the top 10% to win. It's a lot of fun. And if you beat my score, whether you're in the money line or not, you win $40 just by beating my score. Be sure to check them out over at overlaydfs.com. Hit them up on Twitter. Ask them about their first deposit bonus. Lots of cool stuff over at Overlay, and you can win a bonus by kicking my stupid ass. So that's pretty cool. Also, if you want access to all my research tools, my player pools to use in the lineup optimizer, the mass lineup generator, the late swap optimizer, etc., even when I don't do baseball videos, or if for some reason I sit out an NBA video, I still have a player pool set for all the sports: hockey, baseball, basketball, football. You can click that link in the video description below. You can try Draft Dashboard right now for 30 days for $1. Use my player pool, generate 100 lineups, late swap optimizer, all sorts of great research tools for NBA, MLB. It cuts the research time in half. That's more than half, really, especially with baseball. That's my favorite part of it. So it's not just an optimizer, but it gives you a lot of information to help you pick good lineups right there from the screen, and you can get my player pool. I'll show you how to find that at the end of the video. So let's get into it. It's game one, NBA playoffs. I'm so freaking excited for this. Right at the top, we have Kyle Lowry, 7-3 on Fanduel, 7-9 on Draftkings. Brooklyn was 21st this year against opposing point guards, a 46 and a 43 his last two games against Brooklyn. I like Kyle Lowry a lot. You worry about the blowout potential here, but Brooklyn has been feisty. They played very well. Brooklyn's certainly not going to win the series in my estimation. I just don't see that happening. But Brooklyn's a tough, feisty team. They've got some good young players. They're playing really hard. So if this game stays close, which I think it could, No home court advantage. It's not like they had to travel to Toronto. They're all down there in the bubble. This is going to be an interesting playoffs. It's the most unique playoffs I can remember. I guess since maybe the strike shortened season of '99 when they only played 50 games. Not strike. I guess it was more of a holdout, whatever the hell you want to call it. We're going to find out who the best teams are. There's not going to be crowds influencing travels, team hotels, homer officiating. You're not going to see any of that. This is going to be straight up basketball. I'm really excited for it. Jamal Murray. Mike Conley left the bubble. He will not be available for at least the first couple of games of this series because he went to see the birth of his son, who I believe was born today, Elijah Conley. So congratulations to Mike Conley on that. But I think that makes things a whole lot easier for Jamal Murray. Mike Conley is a very solid defender, has been throughout his career. Without him there, I think life gets exponentially easier for Jamal Murray. Will Barton and Gary Harris have still been ruled out for tomorrow's game. He put up a 50 and a 39 his last couple of games against Utah. He should be well rested. Denver's coach, Mike Malone, did a great job of, really letting his starters rest when everything was decided. Could be a really nice matchup. Love that price for Jamal Murray. And you can see if he was that price all year on FanDuel, he would hit value 59% of the time. That's a really cool feature here on Draft Dashboard. Tells you basically how they've done all year at certain price ranges. If he was that price on DraftKings, again, 59% of the time. I like Jamal Murray quite a bit. Kemba Walker. He should be a full go. He was on a minutes limit the whole time back, but he should be a full go tomorrow. And some of you might remember, not so much this year, because of course there's other pieces in Boston. There's other players to lean on. But when he was with Charlotte, he would have some huge games against Philly. A 44 and a 34 his last couple of games. He's 6K on FanDuel, 6'9 on DraftKings. I do like Kemba Walker. Then it's a big drop-off here at point guard. Some value guys. Shake Milton, of course, you'll see some minutes. I think it's a GPP dart throw. Tyler Johnson will continue to start for Brooklyn. 4K on FanDuel, 4-5 on DraftKings. Just put up a 38 against Toronto. He's going to play 25 to 30 minutes. Tyler Johnson, interesting. The Khabib of the NBA. He just kind of looks like Khabib to me. It's funny. Seth Curry, again, he's a tournament dart throw. If he gets hot, of course he can hit value. Reggie Jackson. Patrick Beverley is questionable for tomorrow. And he didn't play that last game with that knee issue, or is it knee or calf? I think it might be a calf. 3-8 on FanDuel, 3-6 on DraftKings. If Patrick Beverley's out, they're going to need all the minutes they can get from Reggie Jackson. I like Reggie Jackson quite a bit for some value. Monty Morris is going to continue to see minutes for Denver without Barton and Gary Harris there. He's 3-7 on FanDuel, 3-6 on DraftKings. I could take a shot there. For Utah, you might see some more Emmanuel Mudiay with Mike Conley not there. Will you see a ton? I don't know, but he's minimum salary on DraftKings at 3K. So I could certainly take a shot there as well. Landry Shamet is also questionable. So they could be pretty thin in that backcourt. You might see a lot of Paul George and Kawhi running the point as well if Reggie Jackson struggles. But there's going to be some minutes for the guards. Lou Williams, of course, will see the court a lot more. We're going to get to him in just a second. So shooting guard, you got Luka. Of course, he's 10-2 on FanDuel, 11K on DraftKings. He hits value 63% of the time on each site at each site's price. Now, there's no denying this is a tough matchup. Now, it's easier without Patrick Beverley there, of course, but you still envision a scenario where they're going to put Paul George or Kawhi on him, have them meet him up at half court. A 64, a 43, and a 38, his last three against the Clippers. Now, that 38 was, obviously at the end where didn't matter, but the Clippers were 8th against point guards, shooting guards. One of the better perimeter defenses in the league, so it's a tougher matchup, so you worry about him hitting value at, he's the most expensive player on the slate tomorrow. But I do like Luka, of course. You got to consider Luka anytime you're playing him. Then below that, we got Karis LeVert. 8-3 on FanDuel, 7-6 on DraftKings. I like that price for Karis LeVert on DraftKings. Look, he's got a scary floor. He can have these off games where he gets in the mid 20s, but he can also go off for 61 and 51, which he just did in his last couple of games. A 49 and a 44 his last two against Toronto. Toronto 20th against shooting guards this year. Karis LeVert's going to be the main focal point of that offense, especially with the Marc Gasol defense inside. It's going to be hard on Jared Allen. It's going to be real hard on Jared Allen. There you go. Title of the sex tape. I like Karis LeVert. Paul George. I'm not a big Paul George playoff guy. He tends to come up small in the playoffs, but early when there's not any pressure, I think he can get there, and he's only 8-1 on both sides, a 50 and a 40 his last couple of games against Dallas. Nice upside. Dallas 23rd against shooting guards this year. Paul George is going to have the ball in his hands a ton. He's going to have tons of balls in his hands all the time. Congratulations, Paul George. I like Paul George quite a bit. Donovan Mitchell, without Mike Conley, you're going to see him play a lot of point guard. His last game against Denver, you remember, it was just, a week ago or so. They had that overtime game. He played 47 minutes and put up a 55. He's 7-3 on Fanduel, 8K on Draftkings. Now, can Donovan Mitchell go out there and get you an 18? Yes, he can. So he's a tournament play. He's never safe in cash. But if you look at his last 4 against Denver. A 62, an 18, a 25, and a 55. That's all you need to know. Denver's very good defensively in the backcourt, but again, without Gary Harris there, it makes life a lot easier on Donovan Mitchell. He's going to see a lot of Torrey Craig defense, etc. Fred VanVleet, same thing. Big upside. Brooklyn's not great defensively. I like Fred VanVleet quite a bit. 6'8 on DraftKings. I like that price there. Marcus Smart, sure, I suppose. He's 5'6 FanDuel. I could go to him there. Probably not the 6'2 price tag on DraftKings. I would just rather pay the 6K for Lou Williams, I think. The only thing you're concerned about is if the Clippers blow Dallas out. I don't think they will. Porzingis is there. Dallas is a good young team. I think it's going to be a fun series. And again, they're not having to travel on the road, so it's a kind of an ideal situation for this young team making their playoff debut. And they're not in front of a raucous crowd, even though the crowds in LA don't tend to be overly raucous. But, and I sound like I sound 90 using the word raucous. But I might as well just put my suspenders on and say pert near. I don't know. Lou Williams, 5'3 FanDuel. That's too cheap. I'll be all over that. You can see he'd hit value 69% of the time if he was that price in every slate. 6K on DraftKings. Big upside. Lou Williams is back in form. Played in the mid-20s over those last couple of games. Put up a 33 and a 37. He looked great. I like Lou Williams quite a bit. Norman Powell, I don't hate for some value, especially on DK at 4-5. Especially if this game is close. Coming down the stretch, OG Anunoby won't be on the court. They're going to take the shooting of Norman Powell. And we see when he gets extra minutes, he has big upside. He just put up a 47 in 26 minutes the other night. I like that 4-5 price tag on DraftKings. Josh Richardson. I'm really sick of playing Josh Richardson. I will say his last 3 games against Boston, a 34, a 30, and a 41. Of course, no Ben Simmons, so they're going to need him a little bit more. He did have a 46 a few games ago in the bubble, also an 8, a 10, and a 21. So it's like wide range of outcomes. Probably will not pay the 5-5 on DraftKings. I'll consider the 4-8 on FanDuel. But for me, I'd rather just go one person down here without Mike Conley. Jordan Clarkson should see all the minutes he can handle. Should be nice and rested. He's 4-4 on FanDuel, 3-8 on DraftKings. I love that. 42, 21, 19 his last 3 against Denver. He's got big upside. He should see extra minutes. I could certainly go there. I don't know if you see as much of Timothy Luwawu Cabarro. Probably won't go there. PJ Dozier, no, he was just playing because of the rest. Alec Burks maybe a little bit. If they're having trouble getting some shots to fall, Alec Burks can give him a spark off the bench. Garrett Temple will be the first guard off the bench for Brooklyn. Him and Chris Chiosa. He's 3-8 and 4-4. It's iffy. Fucking Korkmaz. Probably not. He will see more minutes without Ben Simmons, but it's still real iffy. I think that's it for me at shooting guard. Let's go to small forward. It's hot in the studio today. I'll tell you what. I'd actually intended on taking a whole day off, and I went, oh shit, the playoffs start at 10:30 in the morning. So I had to get my ass out here and get some shit done. All right, Kawhi Leonard, of course. Playoff Kawhi. He's going to be fully engaged, ready to rock and roll. Dallas 23rd against small forwards, power forwards, a 45, 66, and 46. His last 3 against Dallas. It's a little expensive, especially on DraftKings, around 10K. I normally wouldn't do that for Kawhi. You could see if he was that price all season on DraftKings, he'd hit 5 times value 47% of the time. 53% of the time at that price on FanDuel. He's priced up a little bit. I think I prefer Paul George of the 2. Doesn't mean Kawhi can't have a great game. I'm going to have exposure to him, of course. But a little pricey for Kawhi. Pascal Siakam. He hasn't had one 50-point outing in the bubble. Brooklyn was actually pretty good against small forwards, power forwards this year on that wing. 37 and 34 and a 66 in his last 3 against Brooklyn. Of course you want exposure to him just because of that 50-point upside in the mid-7s. He's 7-5 on DK, 7-4 on FanDuel, hit value 67 and 62% of the time on those 2 sites at that price. Tobias Harris, of course he's going to have extra usage without Ben Simmons. You worry about that Boston defense, fourth against small forwards. Boston, of course, is a terrific defensive team. 52, 34, and 20 his last three against Boston. They're going to need Tobias Harris. I think it's pricey for him, especially that 7-8 price tag on DraftKings. That's a little steep. I'm more apt to pay the 7-1 on FanDuel. Then it's a drop off to Jaylen Brown, and I like Jaylen Brown's price on FanDuel a lot. He's only 6'2 on FanDuel. Now he's 7'4 on DraftKings. So you can see the stark difference. If he was 6'2 all year on FanDuel, he'd have hit 5 times value 73% of the time. If he's 7'4 on DraftKings, it's a 50-50. Philly 12th against shooting guards, small forwards. The problem with Boston is there's so many players who can go off. Hayward and Tatum and Kemba Walker. So, and then you have Jaylen Brown. So you want to find the right one. It should be a very interesting series. It's do or die time for the Sixers. They have not looked great. Injury problems and just they have one of the worst coaches in the league. But he and Gordon Hayward are in play, but they're tournament plays only. Tim Hardaway Jr., no thanks. Joe Ingles, yeah, he's just gonna see more court time, and the ball's gonna be in his hands more. He's 5K and 5'3", so I could certainly do that. I like Joe Harris quite a bit. 34, 22, and 26 in his last three against Toronto. The bottom line is Joe Harris is a minutes monster, and if he gets going from downtown, he's 4-7 on DraftKings. Get that extra half point for 3-pointers on DraftKings. I like Joe Harris quite a bit as a value play. OG Anunoby, it looks like he's going to be healthy and ready to go. I've talked about this. He's very frustrating. The day that I completely fade him are the days he goes off for like 65, which fucking happens. I don't anticipate that happening tomorrow, but Brooklyn is certainly a team it could happen against. He's only 3,500 on DraftKings. So there's some consideration there. I like Finney Smith more on FanDuel, and I'll probably take Anunoby on DraftKings. You can see Finney Smith's all the way up at 4.8 on DraftKings, so he's 1,300 more on DraftKings, but 200 cheaper on FanDuel. Dorian Finney-Smith, 4-1. He'll still see, close to 30 minutes. He may even start at the 4. So, I don't mind that so much either. Thibuli won't see as many minutes. Stanley Johnson, Jesus. The rest of this down here is a hard no. We just kind of have to see what Brooklyn does at the 4. They'll probably just start Kurucs, so I guess there's some value there. I don't have a ton of interest in that. Power forward, Kristaps. He's fine. He's going to play. He's already been listed as probable. And if you're going to attack the Clippers, one place you want to do that is inside. You want to attack the inside. Attack the middle. Zubats and Montrezl Harrell looks like he could play tomorrow. Just how much game shape is he? They do have some Joakim Noah. Put up a 50 his last time out against the Clippers. Also a 26 and a 35 the previous two. But Porzingis was great in the bubble, averaging, 30 points, 9 rebounds. Tall, can block some shots. He's 8'6 and 8'3. I don't mind Porzingis. Tatum, again, it's the same with all those Boston players. One of them's going to go off. Tatum usually plays pretty well against Philly at 41 his last couple of outings. I do think it's a bit of a steep price for Tatum at 8'3 and 8'5. Michael Porter Jr. He came into his own during the bubble. Was really, really impressive. Again, no Will Barton, so you could very well see Michael Porter Jr. starting. 6'8 and 7'1. A 47 in that overtime game against Utah a week ago. He had a 53. I mean, he went on a run here in the bubble where he's scoring in the 50s. So there's some tournament upside there. Serge Ibaka should be available to play tomorrow. He's 5'8 and 5'4. I always like centers versus Brooklyn. I wish his price was a little bit lower because he's still only getting about 20 minutes off the bench. So especially if this game sort of gets out of hand, how much will they run him out there with that knee issue? Tournament play only. Al Horford. Absolute money play against his former team on FanDuel at 5'3. Then he's all the way up at 7'2 on DraftKings against his former Boston team in the postseason. Of course, no Ben Simmons, so you'll probably see Al Horford start. He'll be on the court during crunch time at the end of each half, whether he starts or not. His last couple of games against Boston, a 43 and a 25. You can see at that price on FanDuel this year, he would have hit value 70% of the time. At that price on DraftKings, only 33% of the time. It's a big price tag on DraftKings, but absolutely love that price on FanDuel. And I think he'll be very, very highly owned, by the way. He's going to be very highly owned on FanDuel. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Tice against Philly and Embiid, I will pass. Jeremy Grant, Royce O'Neal is kind of interesting. He's 3,500 on DraftKings. He's probably going to start and play. You know, you saw in that overtime game against Denver, really the last time they were trying to win a game, he played 39 minutes in that game. Now you have no Mike Conley. They're going to need Royce O'Neal. He put up a 30 in that game, by the way. 4-5 on FanDuel is meh. There's better plays, you know, Marcus Morris probably, maybe Paul Millsap. But 3-5 on DraftKings, near minimum salary. You got to take a shot there. I'm not usually big on playing Royce O'Neal, by the way. He's one of my least favorite players to play, but 3,500, come on. Marcus Morris, yeah, he's going to be on the court. He's going to play, you know, the high 20s, low 30s in minutes. His last three against Dallas, 45, 31, and 29. After that horrific start to the bubble, that game against the Lakers where he scored like 1 point, he played a lot better. His last four games, 29, 26, 25, 19. He's 4-3 FanDuel, 4-2 DraftKings. I think Marcus Morris is absolutely fine. Paul Millsap, again, he's not going to play a ton of minutes. He'll play right around that 20-some mark. Jeremy Grant, Michael Porter, and Mason Plumlee, and even Bol. They have a lot of front court players to go along with Jokic. It's playoff time, though. I have some consider it. Not on DraftKings at 5K. No fucking way. But 4-3 on FanDuel, sure. Maxi Kleber, no. Rondé Hollis Jefferson, no. There's Rodions Kurucs. And he could start. Jermichael Green, some value. He'll see some minutes. Mike Scott, George Niang might see some minutes. I promise you, Amir Coffey won't play 49 minutes again. I think that's really it at power forward. Let's go to centers. So at center, you got Jokic, 8-6 on FanDuel, 8-7 on DraftKings. He's played really well against Rudy Gobert. And again, no Barton or Gary Harris. This is Jokic's team. He and Jamal Murray. And I don't mind stacking them together. All he's done in his last three games against Utah is put up a 54, a 75, and a 59. He's 8-6 and 8-7. I like that. Now you got Joel Embiid. Look, he's healthy. I was shocked that Brett Brown, well, not overly shocked because Brett Brown is fucking stupid in terms of coaching basketball teams. He seems like a great guy, don't get me wrong, so I'm not knocking him there. But Joel Embiid is 8-5 on FanDuel. I don't mind it. A 64 and a 21 his last couple of games against Boston. And a 72 is mixed in there as well. They don't really have. They're going to have to put Enes Kanter's bigger body on Joel Embiid because he'll just chew Tice alive. And I know he's been battling that ankle issue, but if it was that bad, he wouldn't have started on Friday and played the first half. Joel Embiid's going to have to carry this team. It's time for him to put up or shut up. I love the price for him on FanDuel. Then he's 10-2 on DraftKings. That's not going to happen. But I love the 8-5 price tag on FanDuel. Gobert is certainly in play. He's 7-6 and 7-7. You know, he averages right around the mid-40s against Jokic in Denver. About what you want him to get. So I could go there. Jared Allen, it's too expensive against Toronto in that Marc Gasol defense. Toronto, the number one team in the league this year, defending opposing centers. That's all you need to know. Marc Gasol's a terrific defender. Then they're not losing much when Serge Ibaka comes in. Yeah, they guard the paint really well. So Jared Allen's just too heavily priced. His price needs to come down. Now he's going to play a ton of minutes. He's the only real center they have on this team. But just a hefty price tag. And then we get to Montrezl Harrell. We don't know for sure that he's going to play. His quarantine is supposed to end tomorrow, so he would be eligible to play if everything goes well with the tests, etc. You just wonder what kind of shape he's in. He's been gone the whole time, of course, dealing with the death of his grandmother. He's 5'8 and 5'9. Normally, I'd love Harrell at that price. I just really need to see how many minutes he's going to play and what kind of shape he's in, or if he even does play. Again, you can follow me on Twitter at DFS Bachelor. As soon as I know, you guys will know. Zubats. I like Zubats a ton on DraftKings at 4-1. We've seen in low to mid-20s minutes, he has 30, 40-point upside. Put up a 44 his last game out against Dallas. The other night, 21 minutes, he put up a 32. The game before that, in 24 minutes, he put up a 32. Dallas isn't great up front. Their center's going to be Porzingis. Zubats should be able to get every rebound he wants. 5-1 on FanDuel is a little steep. You could see he'd only hit value 37% of the time at that price this year on FanDuel, but the 4-1 price tag on DraftKings is too cheap. I love the value play there. He'd hit value 56% of the time. And then the last one, Marc Gasol. Now, I know he's only been playing around 20 minutes. He'll play more minutes tomorrow, especially if this game's close. And we've said it for years, centers versus Brooklyn, centers versus Brooklyn, centers versus Brooklyn. They allowed the second most fantasy points in the league to opposing centers this year. He's 4-9 on FanDuel, 4-3 on DraftKings. I like the Marc Gasol play. And I do think if you want to take a dart throw on an Enes Kanter at 3-1, he's got a 23, a 43, a 22, and a 30 in his last 4 against Philly. Again, I think they're going to need his size against Joel Embiid. Sixers were third against opposing centers. It's a tough matchup. They're going to need Enes Kanter, so I think you could take a tournament dart throw on him as well. So that's my early look here about, 17, 18 hours before tip-off tomorrow morning. Again, you can get access to all the research tools, these numbers, the usage numbers, the history versus team, DVP, hit percentages, projections, as well as my player pool. Use it in the lineup optimizer, the mass lineup generator if there's a late scratch. You can use the late swap optimizer on all the sports, baseball, football, hockey, and basketball. You can upload your lineups from Fanduel and Draftkings, import them in here to Draft Dashboard, re-optimize, taking out the injured player or sick player, whatever, and upload them back in. Click that link in the video description below. You can try it for 30 days for $1. When you do, how you find my player pool is you simply will click on your watched players tab. Those will be players that you're marking and watching to use if you're maybe just want to research them or you're using it in the optimizer, however you wish to do it. You click that tab over here on the left. If you don't see this side menu because you're not zoomed out like I am, this little menu bar up here, you can click it right there and find it. Watch players as well right there. Then if you use that link, you'll see a blue box that says Watch DFS Bachelor's Picks, as well as a timestamp when I last updated everything so you know how up-to-date everything is, if I've gotten the news, etc. That's in Eastern time. Then you can use it in the lineup optimizer, etc. Let's see. We'll just take a look at some sample ones here real quick. Let's see what they got for us here on FanDuel. So it left 600 on the table. Leaving salary on the table, especially when there's 3-4 games, is a great way to differentiate yourself from the rest of the field, especially the casual players. Most players are going to try to use up all their salary, so just leaving a little bit on the table does great things for differentiating your lineup. So we've got Lowry, Murray, Van Fleet, Lou Williams, Joe Harris, Siakam, Marcus Morris, Porzingis, and Jokic. It's a lot of Toronto, but I don't hate it. Again, you can come down here and say, oh, maybe I want to get some Donovan Mitchell in there at 7-3 instead. Don't mind that either. Still leave 300 on the table. Again, just a sample lineup. Over here on DraftKings, Clarkson, Marcus Smart, Joe Harris. I don't like that. So then I'd be going in here and doing some changes, like, yeah, I'm not paying 6-2 for Marcus Smart. I could pay maybe 5-3 for Joe Ingles. I like Lou Williams quite a bit tomorrow. I think that's too expensive for Tobias Harris. I'd go to a Siakam or, all sorts of different ways you can go. Again, just click the link. You could try it out, make your own lineups, however you wish to do it. Super cheap price but I do like this price for Zubats here. Then we'd have to save, 500? We could come down from Donovan Mitchell to a Jaylen Brown or a Kemba Walker, etc. Lots of ways you can do it. Again, click the link, try it for 30 days for $1. Don't forget to try out Overlay DFS. Come beat me over there, win your $40 bonus just for beating me. And hey, if you have a perfect record and win that jackpot, could be $20,000 richer as well. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on the channel. Get access to all of our content. I really appreciate all the support, all the likes. That really, really helps the channel. May the fantasy gods be with you all tomorrow. Really appreciate the support. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, yeah, congratulations again to our winner, Paula. Be sure to hit me up as well. Thank you all again so much. Goodbye, folks.